One of the very first videos I ever recorded was why I think Red Panda Squad has what it takes to go the difference. It was all focused on what really happens after they're mint. The Red Panda Squad is really about delivering utility and community to their holders. That's what they're really doing, is they're building a brand and an identity around the Red Panda NFTs. So in this video, what I'm doing is I'm sitting down with the team members to actually talk about some fascinating things that are happening in Solana. We're going to talk about Solana. We're going to talk about the entire ecosystem as a whole, some of the current events that are happening in Solana NFTs right now, talking about what's going on with some other projects. But of course, we're also talking about what building has been done by the Red Panda Squad, what is really going on behind the scenes, and what's coming up next. Let's go. Okay, so I am here with a couple members from the Red Panda Squad, and you guys know how exciting this is for me because this is a team, really one of the very first teams that I ever engaged with that I actually knew that they were something special. You know, I talk to a lot of teams regularly all the time, but the Red Panda Squad was one that really, it almost caught me off guard how focused they were on doing something bigger than producing amazing artwork and then minting it. So I think let's lead off with the first question, kind of talking about that, kind of talking about what's happened after mint day. You guys minted at late September. I think it was a Friday afternoon. Sold out super quick. And then the market itself has been, I'm going to say it's been flat. If you looked at a long-term chart or a chart over the month, it's been mostly flat for most projects, but it's been very volatile, where you've seen some huge runs and then some huge drops for all NFTs in Solana. But you guys have not been focused on the markets or prices, or you guys have been just steady building. You've been building a quality project this whole time. So tell me, what has been your focus in the last month? What has that culture been like?
Absolutely. And, just leading up to launch, and I think we all set this expectations inside the team that, we work really hard up until launch, but that's just the beginning of the project. That's not the end for us. That was just one step in a really long journey where we continue building and add value to users. And I've seen, like you mentioned, projects go up and down. Even, we were below mint for a while. We shot up. We always are stabilizing again. But that's just like a really small picture if you look at the entire timeline of our project. And I feel like a lot of times the community obviously, has wants to keep a close eye on the floor prices because they're investors, and I completely understand that. But I feel like as project leaders and developers and creators, we shouldn't really focus as much or worry as much about the floor price. But apologies for my dog there. But we worry more about adding value. If we continue to build, those prices will continue rising, and it will keep adding value for our users. So for us, it was just the beginning. I was going to say took a day off, but I just realized right after the launch, we were really busy for the next couple of days before we could take a day off. Took a day off, and then, then Monday we're just back at, okay, our launch is done. Now let's look at every other thing that's on our roadmap, and let's see how we can quickly start delivering on that. So it's just been a continuous work, a sprint to work on the next steps. Whether it was the art for our Halloween collection, the art for our airdrops that we're going to be doing after that, art for our animations, and also from like the tech side. We've been building continuously since we've been building a member-only side. We've been working on an explorer. There's a lot of stuff that's coming in, and again, as I've talked about on Twitter Spaces and other places, for us, it's a long-term project. It's not something that's going to be done within 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So like I always have tried to set that expectations with our community that give us time, and we promise we're going to continue to deliver a quality product.
Yeah, and I mean, I can attest to that and say that I've seen it myself. And this is what I think a lot of people who are like really short-sighted forget about. And there's a lot of people who are like new to investing in general. They're finding their first way in through JPEGs, through NFTs, because they can actually form some type of relationship to it. And what they forget is that there's a lot of people who bought like in any mint, not just in Red Panda, but in any mint, there's people who bought like 100 of them, and you actually kind of want those people to shake out over time. You want them to get rid of their excess so that people who legitimately want to be a part of the community and then the project can be, and that's just how the value comes. And the building, the project over time is what attracts these people in to actually purchase the NFTs from the excess. What you guys can't see, but I pulled up your website on my screen. My viewers will be able to see it, and you guys are still continuing to maintain and develop on your website. I see that you updated to indicate how much you've donated at this point. I see that your roadmap is actually a checklist for you guys, and you're checking it off as you get things done. So you've donated to the Red Panda Network and to Wildlife SOS. You've donated a sizable amount of cash to that. And you still have more donations to come, it looks like, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and so I was handling our mint leading up to our launch. So I was working on our on-chain program and making sure all our metadata and everything else was correct. But at the same time, the Thursday or the Friday morning before launch, I was on a call with the Red Panda Network, because this part of the project is just as important to me, because it's a passion of mine, and I wanted to make sure whatever charities we all decided as a team to go with, that we vet them, we talk to them. Even with Wildlife SOS, I've had multiple calls with them to ensure what's the best use of our funds, where it's going, and how we can see an improvement. So we're not one of those projects that are just going to donate for the sake of donating and then just forget about it. Our plan is to build a lasting bond with these charities and see a meaningful effect come out of our donations.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And I also see a checklist item here that you might be able to check off now, and that was the street art with the Graffiti Kings in London. How cool is that? The video you guys just dropped was unreal.
Yeah, I mean, I was very excited about that one because I had that vision early on to do something unique. I mean, you can see the blue chips like the CryptoPunks and Bored Apes and some very successful projects doing that right now. And I was thinking early on, I want our red pandas, I want to show them outside in the world and do something unique. So I digged a little bit and I stumbled across Graffiti Kings. They are doing graffiti street art for Hollywood movies like Spider-Man and Maze Runner. So I jumped on a call with the CEO of them, and we discussed the situation, and then we came up about putting that street art in London in Leake Street at the area of the Banksy Tunnel. And actually our community was so eager to see it, and we had it painted there like 5 days or almost a week before we leaked it public, because we had the pictures, but we made sure we get a nice video done of that. So yeah, we were very excited to put that live.
It's so cool. I mean, they did a fantastic job for it too. Even the details with like getting the shades right, the astronaut visor, I'm sure was probably hard for them to do with the reflection and the glare, but it was really, really high quality. So that was super impressive. And then, of course, the video itself with the backdrop music was absolutely sick and insane. So that was awesome. So,
actually,
I mean,
if you don't mind, I just want to add to that.
Yeah.
So, when I first started talking with the team before I came on board, they had already started planning some of this marketing blitz, some of these plans, and that's what kind of really attracted me to the team. It's not just a team, that's just there to try to mint as quickly as possible, but that actually had a plan. Like in full disclosure, I've talked to a lot of teams. I've advised a lot of other projects that have gone on Solana. There's this developer community. We all share code. We all talk to each other. So I talk to every single developer, on some of the biggest projects. And I've helped with other projects, but this was the first time when I talked to a project that they came to me saying, okay, this is our marketing budget for launch. This is our marketing budget post-launch. So I knew a team that was willing to put in their own money, and quite a bit of money, before anything came out of the project. So that's how I knew that I can start trusting the team. And then we talked for a while, we built that bond, and stuff like this was something that was an early vision. And I feel like a lot of projects get stuck in this loop of when they're only marketing to people who are into NFTs or who are just reviewing other projects. And I feel like sometimes it's really cool to have these kind of projects where you're trying to onboard just complete randoms, people who have not been exposed to NFTs before. So stuff like that, I think is really cool to onboard new users and just get more eyeballs on the projects.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and that's why I think these graffiti artists and also merchandise, which you guys have on your roadmap, you have some cool like samples on your website. I'm going to bring that up real quick. I think that is a big deal in the real world, especially when you guys you have like the Red Pandas themselves wear items and articles that I personally would like to wear. Like I would rock the red beanie, right? And I would rock the hoodie that you have displayed on your website. And I think the thing that happens with that is now normies see these types of things, and they not only see cool artwork, but they also see somebody who's a part of a club. And it's kind of an exclusive club, right? There's only, 10K in existence. We often take for granted the amount that really is in the grand scheme of things. In NFTs right now, it seems like, well, there's plenty of supply out there. We could buy it. But what we're seeing, we keep saying we are so early, right? Because we are. And eventually there will be a time when millions upon millions, hundreds of millions of people want NFTs, and there's not enough to go around. There's certainly not enough Red Pandas to go around. So this merch, to me, is actually a bigger deal than people realize, because it's a way to not only, rep your panda, the stuff that you're proud of, the stuff that you have a bond with, but also identify yourself as part of a club and a community to people who are on the outside. And the fact that you guys had that thought, like this was on your website before you minted. And I pointed that out in my very first video that I ever did that covered. You guys, this is one of the things that impressed me so much that nobody else is doing, is the fact that you guys did think one step ahead, I think is the best way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, I see this also as a part of branding. I mean, you have so many NFT projects and they are popping up every day, like so many, which is good. Like many people are trying to build something, and competition is bringing new ideas and making devs think about new things. When I thought about the vision of the Red Panda Squad, I'm thinking about what is the bridge to the real world, and how can we bring utility? And we try to do this and build something where we have multiple layers of bringing utility to the Red Panda Squad. And I mean, when you think about in the real world, someone says to his friend, hey, I bought this NFT, it's cool. And he's like, yeah, but it's a JPEG. It's on, like, you can take a screenshot, all these typical arguments. Mm-hmm. And then if he says like, hey, I can, on the private website of the Red Panda Squad, which is launching this week, actually, I can check out with my NFT that's in my wallet and can put it on a shirt, and I can check out with crypto, like paying by crypto, and then it gets delivered to you, and you're like, damn, that's so cool. I love mm-hmm. wearing that, and mm-hmm. it automatically helps to spread the word. And I think that's really cool,
Yep. I couldn't agree with you more. And it kind of leads into the bigger conversation, that tweet that went viral recently of Gary V, where he was talking basically in a metaphor. To summarize, he was like, I could buy an $100,000 couch, a luxurious thing that would just sit in my house that nobody would ever see. Or I could buy an $100,000 profile picture, throw it up on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. 9 million people see it. Now we add in like Twitter verification into the mix, and it can actually have the little Solana symbol in the bottom corner that verifies that we're the owner to it. And then you couple that with one step further, again, reinforcing the concept that we are so early. There was a poll recently, they polled like people 18 years and younger. and 22% of them knew what an NFT was, and 16% of them had bought an NFT. This is the new generation that is coming up right now. We like to talk about, especially people my age who are having kids, we like to talk about, oh, my kids are growing up with iPads. They have iPads in school. And it's just mind-blowing that they have all this technology. Well, guess what? When they're old enough to start thinking about their finances, they will have grown up in a world where cryptocurrency and NFTs have always existed. This is just going to be the norm, and that's, again, reinforcing the fact that we are so early and that the supply that we're seeing in Solana NFTs is actually quite limited. So the fact that you're out there and doing this and planning all of these things and building utility, that actually means a lot to me. The fact that you guys are clearly at the top echelon of teams. Now, about utility, because you guys have talked about utility quite a bit, but we haven't talked specifically about the utility. You've got airdrops, you've got the Panda board, you've got giveaways where you're spinning, you're building a private website. We heard on the Spaces about this thing called a marketplace. Take me on this journey. What's coming up next? What's the big deal? Why?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just continue on to what you were saying first, and I'll pick that up. Most of the team's actually pretty young. I'm the older citizen, and I am in my mid 30s, just like I guess you would be too. So I've seen this whole ecosystem evolve, and again, that's just crypto in general. And then when you look at how early we are on Solana. As you say, like, we're so early, there's nothing that's really built out there. And as developers and creators, we see there really are no tools, right? The entire protocol, the Metaflex protocol that all these NFTs on Solana sit on top, that's not even half a year old, right? That's how early we are. In order, like, when you start building things, when you start creating things and you start running into issues and you see how easy it is to just fix that and introduce something new so we can actually build really cool experiences. That's what really brought me into this space. I've been a software engineer. I've worked with all kinds of companies, anywhere from some of the smallest startups to Google and Disney. So I've seen a lot of things, and I feel like crypto and especially NFTs now is a big equalizer. Right? There's always been this norm where VCs were able to front run everyone. That happens with investments in startups. That happens in investments in ICOs and IDOs, right? All the big firms, the big funds were able to get in first. And there was always, like, by the time normal people like you and me were able to get in, we're already way behind the curve. Mm-hmm. So I feel like minting NFTs and getting into NFTs where everyone has the same chance of getting in, where there's no big fund front running you, is the big equalizer, right? So that's why it's really important for me to to protect these people, to keep adding value so they can see a return. Like, I don't want this to turn out to be just like one of the other things where we end up being the bag holders. So that's why why adding value is so important. Yep. Right? And also, I think we've all said this, and I think it's pretty open. We're all heavily invested in the project ourselves. Yeah, yep. We believe in it, right? So we're successful in the long term, I'm successful in the long term. If the project is successful, we're able to deliver on our goals. We have a lot of really good advisors who've helped us, shape our goals. We continuously come up with new ideas. A lot of them are ideas that I tell the team we're not doing, or they tell me no, you're not doing. So we have this healthy process. We come up with ideas, we see how it will add value, and then we weigh in the cost of building it versus time of building it and how much value it'll add. So when we put something out, we put a lot of thought into it. And also I want to point this out that we're not ignoring the community at that point either. A lot of these cool ideas have originated from the community as well. We want them to be a part of it. Like essentially, they're helping us mold this project into their vision and our combined vision. Mm-hmm. We're only successful if we keep the faith of our community and we continuously keep adding value. So as the Solana ecosystem. A couple of months ago, all it took was saying, I am doing an NFT project, and it would sell out in 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Then it evolved a little bit where you had to have some kind of roadmap, whether you were delivering on it or not, and things will sell out quickly and will bump. And then it moved to the point where projects started, say, promising games, and that was a big thing. It moved to, as you can tell, security violations. That's what I like to refer to them as royalty sharing. But it was a really quick pump to a lot of projects because it's like, okay, here, hold our token and we'll just give you a lot back. And I've said this like when this first came up, like personally, as an investor, that was a red flag to me, not because of any security concerns, but just like think of it this way: if the project creators are giving up a lot of their own value in the long term, that means they don't have the incentive to stick around and to build something that really adds value. So you will get a quick 1x, 2x, maybe 5x. But you're never going to get that 100x, 200x, or 1000x. Like that's what we're all shooting for, right? That's what we're dreaming for, to be like, the same kind of returns that the Googles or the Amazons or the Facebooks. And make no mistake, I'm not saying we're going to beat that, a Google or a Facebook, but the amount of value we can add to a project, in the space can definitely, have that kind of returns for people.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why like adding value is so important. And then we wanted to see how we can give back to our community, while being completely compliant. And I'll take blame for a lot of things. There's a lot of cool things that come up in our internal meetings that I veto by saying, hey, I think we need to take a step back and talk to a lawyer or talk to advisors to figure out if what we're doing is something, A, that will add value long term, and B, if it's like sits well with the current regulations, right? And again, it's such a great space where people are like, no, you can just ignore things, and crypto is something that cannot be regulated. But I feel like a lot of people are misinforming those things. Like I want to be able to sit behind a project and be proud of it and be able to do things the right way. If we make mistakes, that not only cost us, but they cost every single investor who's ever put any money in our NFT.
Yeah.
So that's what's important. And so, we took our time, talked to lawyers. I'm still talking to lawyers about setting up a DAO, about, how to share revenue and stuff. But yes, so our marketplace is something that we've always wanted to do because I feel like, again, Solana is so new. There's marketplaces out there, but there's no one clear winner. We've seen a lot of new marketplaces pop up and a lot of really cool features. But again, it's hard to optimize that when you are building a marketplace for every single project as opposed to a single project. So we have a vision, right? We're building, we're working on an animation, that will have airdrops, which those items can be used with your Red Panda to go on a quest. Whether that means you'll get an upgraded Red Panda or there'll be some other value added. So there was no existing mechanism where all of that could be packaged well and to be able to put on a marketplace. So our marketplace, would initially, when it starts off, would probably be no different than any other marketplace where you can just list your Red Panda. But what we're doing is we're trying to divert all of the fees, the trading fees from this marketplace into a DAO. Again, the DAO is something that's not controlled by us; it's controlled by the community. We're building at the same time a lot of infrastructure for the DAO. As you also know, the current infrastructure that exists, it's very minimal. A lot of projects are looking at, just Discord. We have a gated Discord channel as well, but that's not really a DAO. You cannot vote on in Discord and have that be the final say of things. So, we're doing things the right way. That means it takes time, but building that DAO and building all the infrastructure means people are able to vote using their wallets and verify, they are the holders and their votes matter. So,
to my knowledge, I don't know that I have not seen any other project who actually built out an infrastructure for their DAO.
Yeah.
I like almost everything in the other DAOs that I'm a part of is almost exclusively in Telegram, Discord, or like group Twitter chats.
Yeah, so in the short term, I think those things work really well, and we will utilize all of those as much as possible because we don't want to put our users behind, right? So we want them to have a voice to say. So that would be the short term, but long term, yes, absolutely, we're working on the infrastructure for the DAO. There's also this project coming out called Squads, which is an app which allows basically anyone to be able to spin up a DAO, and there's some cool use cases for that. That may or may not be a perfect solution for a lot of NFT projects. And then there's Mango DAO, right? That's the Mango Market's the biggest the biggest projects on Solana, the biggest DAO actually out there. I've looked at the code they've done, and again, they're also in a space where they can't continuously just keep maintaining that code base because they have their own infrastructure to build, their own project to build. So we've taken over some of the code they've released, and we're trying to build on top of that to be able to have our holders propose new things and to be able to vote on them in a really transparent manner. So it's not something that's one of the biggest actually issues that I see and I hear from people is like, oh, you guys only hear users who are active in Discord or who are in Discord. I'm working, I can't be there. So I want to be able to remove the technology as a barrier for entry for a lot of our users, a lot of our holders to be able to talk to us. So that's one of those things. And I know. And I'm sorry again, I went off on a tangent. I know the question was on the marketplace, but it all relates to each other, right? These are all the things we're working on. So our marketplace, is coming out here pretty soon. I'll be able to share some of the UX that we've built, hopefully, in the next few days. And again, our goal is to have an audited escrow account for that available, so everyone can see it's audited and it's something that works well. And again, very few marketplaces out there have their audited escrow accounts public. One of our goals is to have an open source escrow account that anyone can use. I feel like these are things that should exist on Solana. These are things that a lot of projects can share with each other. It's like people always think that the projects are competing with each other, and I honestly don't believe that. I talked to and I've said several times all the projects, and I feel like we all grow together. If we're building stuff together, if we're adding value, that's going to just get more people onboarded onto NFTs on Solana.
I totally agree with you. And I mean, we kind of circle back a little bit to the securities conversation with royalties. And you can't really blame any project for trying to innovate in that way. We're in a new space on a new blockchain where this blockchain being so incredible, Solana being so incredible, that it allows imagination and innovation to do things that have never been done before. Now, there are some definite red flags that come up with that. When I talk to projects and they tell me things like royalties, feedback, blah, 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 I'm like, okay, well, we need to ask some more questions. Have you thought about the legal implications? And most of the time the answer is no. There are some projects that I think are doing it in a truly unique way where they thought about their generation 1 was going to be royalties based, generation 2 was not. They had this whole plan about how they're going to build a long-term project based on that. So I think this whole space right now is very, very innovative, and it does sometimes feel a little, especially on Twitter, or other discords where some members in that particular space or community are very combative. They're very aggressive, very territorial. My project versus your project. And I think that's actually kind of wrong. I think it's more like what you're saying, where we're actually just trying to all build together and innovate together in such a way that's quite fantastic. And it honestly is building a better Solana, building a better ecosystem. Sometimes people try things and it doesn't work out. It's just the nature of cryptocurrency, right? But for the most part, when people try something new that's never been done before, it's totally unique, and it does work out, then everybody's kind of got this idea that other people want to imitate. And I think that's actually a cool thing.
No, and I completely agree. And that's why there's a reason I never, call out a project for doing things one way or the other, because we're all in the end, right? There's two kind of people. Right? There's people who are really just trying to get rich quick, get money, and get out. And then there's builders who actually have a vision, who are trying to build this for long term. And I talk to a lot of creators. I have people contacting me, asking for how something's done and how and we're all really open. Our team's open with marketing help, things that work, things that don't. And I'm really open from the dev side and just I spend a lot of time talking to lawyers. So I advise a lot of projects. I go on Twitter Spaces and be like, hey, it's a really cool idea. You should like look more into it. So my goal is, not say, oh, it's a bad idea. I think we all get really good ideas and really bad ideas, and it's important for all of us to iterate on that.
Yep.
Just the version one of a really good idea might just not work or maybe not well executed, but that doesn't mean, that's not a winning solution. You just kind of have to give it time. And I applaud people who take risks and who are, willing to put their projects on the line to actually succeed. And, we have a lot of pressure from holders, from certain section of holders who are like, oh, every other project's doing a royalty. Why are you not doing it? And again, it wasn't because we were being greedy. It's just when we talk to our advisors and we talk to our lawyers, we want to go in a certain way. And again, that doesn't mean we're right, but that just means that's what we believe in, and that's where we're putting all of our own money in it. And that's why I think it's a good idea. I ask our community to trust us, and that's the only reason it works. Right? If you cannot trust the team, then really you should get out as quickly as possible. But if you trust the team, give them some leeway, give them time, let them build. And it's not just our project, it's every project on Solana, right? If you trust the team and you think, they're able to deliver what they promise, then give them time. It doesn't matter what happens in a daily or weekly way. And we've seen a lot of projects, right? And I'll give you examples. And because again, I'm not, saying any of these are bad projects. In fact, all of these are really good projects. There's projects like Duckbirds, like you've seen them shoot up, go down. They've had an incredible community. There's Aurora that went up and down a lot. There's SMBs has this incredible meteoric rise, and then they slow down a little. So there's all kinds of projects that go through these different curves. But the whole thing is, as long as they're on the right trajectory, and if you zoom out and you can see movement and you can see the community working in the right direction, then by all means give them time.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think, the elephant in the room that a lot of people are comparing on Twitter recently has been, geckos and meerkats. And to me, those two projects have two completely different ethoses, like two completely different ways of doing them. But the thing for me is I don't think either of them are wrong. I believe in both of their teams, so I hold both. Like, they're just doing things different. We're all trying things. And I mean, to bring it back to Red Pandas, you guys are trying things too. And you're taking things, the careful approach, consulting with the right legal advisors, but still iterating and building. And I think that's so cool. I do.
And again, I and you can tell, Knox, I love to talk. So when I start talking, I can go on, and I'm really passionate about these things, and I know it really means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And I look at all these projects and see what they're doing. In fact, I'm really close to the guys behind the Galactic Geckos. In fact, in the middle of our conversation, I got a message from them. They're working on something technical, and they had a question if I've seen that happen or not. So again, these are type of conversations, as developers, we're just always having back and forth. And again, a lot of projects get bashed because of a decision they make, and if it works out or not, a lot of times people are short-sighted and they don't really think through it. Because as projects, when we put something out, it means we've actually put a lot of thought into it. That means it's already gone through our internal vetting process, right? I said, something comes up and we talk several times, is it really a good idea? What are we trying to do? So, if a project takes time and actually when it puts things out, think through it. A lot of times and it's just one with human nature, right? People want to react really quickly. Either they're really happy or they're annoyed. And the other side is you'll never make everyone happy. When we put something out, we know it will annoy some users, and we also know it will, a lot of other users are going to be really happy. So as projects, we always have to weigh both sides of it. And it's not an easy task. You have a huge community all the way from, that small user who's, been only able to save enough to be able to buy one at a certain price, and they don't ever want that to go down. And for me, that user is just as important as the one who has hundreds of your tokens. You want to be able to do right by all of them, but at the same time, if you try to make every single person happy, your project will not be able to move forward, will not be able to succeed. But I talk to people who have one panda, and I've talked to people who have hundreds of pandas, and again, I give them the time because I want them to know that we're always here for them.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I completely believe it. You guys are super active in all of the social media channels and Discord and everything. and it totally shows. All right, so we have a few minutes left. We need to wrap it up. Tell me more about the animated series, the Halloween airdrop, and some of those exciting things that are happening now.
Yeah, I can take that one. So what's happening next is this week we release our private website, which will be a place where you have a rarity system to see the rarities of your Red Panda in a nice way, user interface. The merge unfortunately won't be ready yet since we're integrating that, but we will also have a Panda board for top holders with benefits. At the same time, we're running a surprise community wheel this week where we give away prizes for people who have their Red Pandas unlisted from the marketplaces. And regarding the Halloween airdrop, that's pretty exciting. We roll out an exclusive collection of probably 250 Red Pandas in a Halloween collection that's being airdropped to holders of 7 different trades. For instance, the Skeletons, the Zombies, the ones with a dagger. If you hold a Red Panda that's unlisted with one of those 7 trades, you get the chance to get a Halloween Red Panda airdropped. Most likely it's going to happen on Sunday. We will announce it today. And yeah, the animated series is also currently under production. We hope that it is finished in around 3 weeks. This takes time, especially the first teaser. And then we're going to roll out quick mini series over time. The main character is called Siba, our Red Panda, and he's on a mission to find his origin. And on that mission, he runs through a map through the jungle, and there he finds he picks up items that help him. And we're planning on airdropping certain items to holders, which will lead up to a big puzzle. And that will all be announced over time until we release the first animated series.
That's really cool. That's really, really cool.
Yes.
I'm excited about all of that, man. I'm excited about especially the Halloween airdrop. I really hope. I've got zombies, I've got skeletons, I'm loaded, I'm ready to go. And that's going to be really, really cool. The previews that you guys have shared, the teasers you've shared have been outstanding and hilarious and fun. When I look at them, these are the types of things, with all the Red Pandas in general, these are the types of things that I look at them and I have this positive emotional reaction. It makes me have a smile on my face because they're cute, but they're kind of fierce too at the same time. And that's really fun to see and experience as a consumer.
And that means so much to us because honestly, so again, I keep going back. I'm the developer, right? So my goal is to tell the team, okay, let's wrap this up so I can, start doing my part, start actually minting these things, running scripts to be able to find these holders and those other. And our team, all credit to our artists, they want to make sure that everything's perfect. Just an example, we've gone through so many different iterations of just these 250 pandas we're going to release. The amount of attention that's paid to detail is incredible. I've worked with some really, well-respected artists, and I have nothing but the ultimate respect for our team. And not just the artists, but the rest of the team, they all want to manage it in a way when we put something out, it's incredible. And one thing I quickly wanted to address was, the size of this small collection. Again, there's a reason why it's small, right? For us, Solana is relatively cheap to actually do transactions on and airdrops on. So for us, it's not hard to do a 10K airdrop and just keep doing it. But that really adds no value to our users, right? The scarcity here is important, and also it's the first one, that we're doing. There's going to be more coming. So, I don't want holders who don't have one of these trades to feel excluded or feel like, theirs is not worth as much or the same. So, keep that in mind, give it time, enjoy what this is doing. And then in the long run, these are all connected. There's a reason, our animated series is being worked on because all of these things come together, they tell a story, and, that's how we're going to add value to every single holder.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's fantastic. And I totally get that too. I mean, I could actually see down the road a real collector of red pandas would want to accumulate, like, I want Gen 1 Halloween, and then like next year when you do Gen 2 Halloween, something different. Something like that. I could just see somebody who wanted their it's kind of a way to say, like, I've been here from the beginning, and I'm a real believer in a collector. I think that's a really cool thing to do, and having that exclusivity and small supply is definitely a way to make that happen. So anything else that we should know about that you guys want to wrap up with? Or sign
No,
off?
I feel like I've been enough, and you were incredible to ask the right questions.
Yeah, and just want to say thank you, Knox, for doing this with us, and in general, just for being here for the community. I think you're building an amazing channel. I think we all feel that you're growing at a really rapid pace, and I think you deserve a lot of attention already, and it will grow so much faster. It's amazing, and I think we're all very early, and yeah, I think we're off to a great journey together.
I think so too. And I mean, again, congratulations to you guys on clearly building one of the best projects on Solana, being involved in the community, being involved with other Solana developers, innovating, and also producing cool artwork. It's very clear to me that you guys, one of our very first conversations was between me and Cookie, and we said, he basically indicated to me that it's the entire purpose of this project is to be in the Solana ecosystem for a long, long time. And the actions have done more than the words. You're putting your money where your mouth is. You're walking the walk instead of just talking the talk. And it shows, and you guys deserve all the respect and kudos that you have.
Thanks so much, Knox.
Yeah. Well, sincerely, thank you guys for your time. I've loved this conversation. I hope we can make this a more regular thing because, just talking to people who are in the trenches right now and what are you seeing in the Solana NFT ecosystem, it's awesome to talk about Red Panda Squad, but it's also awesome to talk about Solana in general. And I think we all agree that we're in a special place right now, but I think we also all agree that we're early, and it's a good feeling. So thank you guys for your time. I had an absolute blast chatting with you.
Likewise, we had a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Knox. Talk later.